The headline on 538 is, will the Champions League finally get a new champion? And why on God's earth do they have Manchester City on the front?
Well, it's a thumbnail.
No,
Look,
I don't agree.
They have a great blurb about Napoli, though. Their goal differential was up there with the best goal differentials in the league, and how they could, in it being drawn to group with Manchester City, and then I think a little bit weaker, but Dan Keston's favorite team, Shakhtar Donetsk, I think it is.
Shakhtar Donetsk.
Donetsk, the Ukrainians' pride and joy of football. I don't know what I'm talking about, but
that's pretty solid.
At least I'm honest with you. Let's get to the numbers, though, Francis.
The numbers, indeed. We have tables and numbers and numbers and tables. So as a look at this lovely table put together by the statisticians, and from everything that comes to not the presidential campaign, 538.
Yeah, there's a 98% chance that Hillary Bayern, sorry, God.
Why is Bayern Munich at the top of this, Jason? Is it just trying to add an insult to us because they're in the same group as Celtic?
Oh, well, we're Celtic on the whole list.
That's a good point.
I grabbed only the ones with a 1% or higher chance. There's a lot. We're Celtic. They're not last.
They're lower than Feyenoord?
I mean, Olympiacos, watch out for them. They're coming.
Oh my God, they're lower than Basel?
Yeah, Basel's been in the Champions League and they've won like group stage games.
We've got to round of 16 several times. Anyway, let's not get into this back and forth political mudslinging.
We can go back to the thing. The reason I think they chose Bayern is because Barcelona and Real Madrid have won most of those Champions Leagues over the last 5 years, Bayern being the other one. But what's interesting this to me isn't really looking at necessarily like the chances of winning the final. You don't know anything just right now. So let's just say make it to the round of 16. And you look at certain teams and you go, they're still not that high on English teams that get drawn into shit groups. Tottenham. But if you're Manchester United and Twitter goes on an entire, what's the word I'm looking for? Rant to Twitter. There's Twitter
tirade.
Tirade. We'll go tirade. Rant or tirade at least. Because Manchester United got drawn into an easy group. They did get drawn into an easy group. Is that fixed in a certain way?
No.
Who knows? Because if Celtic was drawn with Barcelona, then it would have been.
Yeah, I do like that they're putting together all the percentages based on like how they're going to, because it does matter. If you finish first in your group, then you're more likely going to get an easier draw if things go to plan. But as we know, things don't always go to plan with the Champions League. That's why we love it. So to have Bayern Munich at an 18% chance of winning the Champions League, just based on round-by-round probabilities, it's an interesting conversation to have. I wouldn't even put Bayern Munich in my top 4 to win the Champions League this season. And I'll tell you why.
Why?
All right. Simply because for the decisions that both Real Madrid have made in the offseason by keeping all of those players that have been instrumental and allowing for the growth of players to come in that's just going to fit seamlessly into the system, such as Asensio. I think they're still favourites in my opinion. Yeah, you can say no one's ever won it back to back 3 times, but they just defied us by winning it back to back. So to rule them out because it's never been done before, I think would only be a valid case if they had not won last year. And they would still be fair. If they never won last year, then they'd probably be back favourites this year because they like to go 1 year off, 1 year on. But they've made 4
of the last 5.
out of the last, no.
6. They've won 2.
So the Atletico Madrid, and then they missed out 1 year, and then, wait. Have they made 4 out the last 5 Champions League finals?
We'll go back. So you had, if you go in reverse order, if you go to 2016 Champions League winner, it was Real Madrid versus Juventus, and Real Madrid won. 2015 was Barca versus Juventus, correct?
Yes.
2014 was Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, right?
Yes.
And they won.
No,
no,
wait,
no.
3 out the last 4.
2017, 2016 was Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid.
Yes, 2015, 16 Madrid, Atletico, and then obviously they beat Juventus 4-1 last year. So yeah, and by the way, that's leading to the next point. The reason why I still have
beat Dortmund in 2013.
What's that?
Bayern beat Dortmund in 2013.
No, Bayern beat 2013. Bayern, yeah, they beat Dortmund in 2013. I'm looking at 2012-13. Yeah, when Bayern.
I got it.
You got it. You got it down. The reason why, and also I still have Juventus, maybe not above Bayern Munich, but in a very similar vein. Yeah, they lost Bonucci last year. I still think they made great acquisitions in bringing in Matuidi, who's going to strengthen that midfield. They've also made 2 out of the last 3 Champions League finals. So the probability of them If you're looking at it in terms of the past case study, they still got a pretty good chance of getting up there.
3 straight trips to the Champions League final to lose is just...
That's going to be a tough one.
It's too
for
much
Buffon.
to get over. It's
too much for Buffon. But the other team that has to be put in there, of course, is PSG. By the way, did you see the way Mbappe was talking about Monaco? It's almost like he was talking about an ex-girlfriend. It's like, I may come to your stadium and you may boo, but you did not know what's in my heart, which is a love I have for you. Who's saying that about Monaco?
That's nice, because he's on a season-long loan and then he's going to go sign with Real Madrid.
No, he's on a season-long loan, and I looked more into the detail. It's because they're trying to get around regulation. He's going to sign with PSG. It's like season-long loan, and then they have the option to sign him for another 3 years. It's like really weird, complicated issue that they're... It's like fair play, put it in place. There was some sort of financial fair play, which makes no sense considering they're spending all this money regardless. Why put in fair play now?
What's their idea of financial fair play?
Yeah, exactly.
But in general, Francis, Spain is just dominated.
I know, man, Jesus.
Even going back to the Barcelona years against Manchester United and also Manchester United.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have had 6, which will be now coming up as a 6 finalists in the last 10 years.
It's going to be 7. They're going to get a finalist. I'd be shocked if Atletico, Real, or Barcelona don't make the finals.
Yeah.
I really would. I think it depends on how the draws work out. But unless Barcelona really has crashed and burned and they get knocked out in like the round of 16.
I don't think that's possible. I still always have Barcelona in my top 3 or 4 to
I think Manchester United and Manchester City, I know that sounds nuts, but look, Pep Guardiola has had success in the Champions League. And
so is Jose Mourinho.
while we keep talking about Manchester United, like it's only going to help Manchester City. If they're getting not as much of the press in Manchester as how great United's going to be this year and how they're 3-0 in the Champions League so far, and they have, sorry, not the Champions League, in the Premier League, and they're 9 points clear, and they're 1 win away from running away with it, 12 points clear. Well, they're not 12 points clear of anybody, they're like 2 points clear. Manchester City is going to thrive off of that because they've pretty much had the target painted on their back while Manchester United's been bad for the last 2 or 3 years. And take bad with a grain of salt. For Manchester United, not winning anything is bad. Europa League excused from last year. So they signed a lot of defenders. They've made their defense much stronger.
They had to.
They spent 140 billion, sorry, million, trillion, whatever, doesn't matter, you get the point, to make sure that works. Guardiola's little triangles, as you always talk about, have been working. Manchester City is 7 points on the table, and they've looked pretty damn good in their 3 games so far. Man City versus Man United.
I mean, I'd like
I love my ridiculous predictions.
But it's not ridiculous then if you're looking back to
they'd have to go through such great
years ago when Manchester United and Chelsea met in the Champions League final, when England were able to push teams into the latter stages. I still can't see it. I still have, if I was to rank them based on my likelihood, I think Real Madrid, PSG, Barcelona, and then it's a battle between Juventus and Bayern Munich. I still think that I've got Man United even along the same level playing field as Dortmund, Atletico Madrid, and Man City right there. Like, you can argue who you think is in that category. If Manchester City don't...
You mean tier 2.
Yeah, tier 2 in the Jason Rubin tier system. I think if Manchester United reach the quarters, I think it's a successful first time back into the Champions League. And I know that sounds a little low bar for the amount of money they spent.
That means they have to win 2 legs total in the round of 16.
I think if
they've already won their group.
I've seen crazier things happen.
Yeah, like Celtic winning the Champions League.
I've never seen that in my lifetime.
You've watched it. Did you ever record it on your DVR?
Back in the years.
Just in case.
Did they have TVs back then?
Did they have TVs when they won the Champions League? I pray.
1967. Who knows, man? Real Madrid are still going to be the favourite for me. And based on any percentages you want to throw at me, because they've got a tougher group, we know that. Because Bayern Munich, according to this, have the easiest group in the world. In with PSG, Anderlecht and Celtic. We will see how that pans out. But in terms of their transfers with Bayern Munich, I didn't see them strengthen parts of their game that I think they had to strengthen much more going forward. I still didn't think they filled that void in a defensive midfield position that is left by Xavi Alonso. They allowed Renato Sanchez to move on loan. I think he went to Swansea. And when you look at the other teams that are going to be moving up in the competitor list to move above them, PSG, of course, strengthened.
Right.
You'd be lying if you never thought they strengthened. And I don't know, Bayern Munich have really let me down the last couple of years. I feel like their character has been weak in the final games. Like they lost out to an Atletico Madrid team that on paper they should have been by far and away better then.
Yeah, but that's Atletico Madrid's bread and butter, is being, as you put it, a thorn into like these powerful front forward attacking teams, or even the machine-like team like Bayern Munich. They just take chunks and clog the system. Yeah. They're just like, no, we're just gonna take this part out of your game. We're gonna neutralize your midfield. So you're gonna have to beat us with your strikers. You're gonna have to beat us with Lewandowski because we're gonna neutralize everything going on in the midfield. And we're gonna find a way to really annoy Vidal. And we're gonna get him sent off. We're gonna get him booked. So he has to play a little bit more cautious than he normally would. We're gonna have to annoy certain parts, and it's not like Atletico Madrid is Leicester City on steroids. That's what they are. And the counter-attacking style of football, and they're defensively so sound. And what is it, Oblak, who gets no credit somehow still as being one of the best goalkeepers in the absolute toughest of times. I want to talk about a hurricane. He faces hurricane-like offenses coming at him. That's not really offenses, it's forward strikers, whatever you want to call it. Every single year. And what did he give up in the Champions League final against Real Madrid ended up being bad towards the end, right? But for 7 minutes,
that was the one before the last one. It was the penalty kicks.
It was in penalty kicks. Yeah, he did.
The one before that was the one where
it was a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, 1-1 draw, penalties, and then the one before that was when they lost after Ramos's equalizer.
And then it went all out. Yeah, it went bad
then,
after that. But he's just been there, and he's been strong for them between the posts. So I don't want to ever count out Atletico Madrid. It's just, you know, you think after enough time, will we see something different? Will we see another English Champions League champion? At some point, of course we will. Is it this year? I would like to see it. I think it would be great for the Premier League to wave that flag. I think they need to, or we're just going to be sitting here having the same conversations in the next transfer window when we see another 150 million spent on teams from Manchester United and Manchester City, and it's 150 million spent to win the Premier League, not the Champions League.
And I think that's what Jose Mourinho's spending his money on this year, though. I don't think that the Champions League's even, he wants to play in the Champions League, but it's not in his sights as a measure of his success.
It's going to be tough when he gets Sevilla in the quarters, and then Man City in the semis, and then
I would like that.
And then he gets like, I don't know, Monaco slips through to the finals. Be like, wow, Manchester United cakewalks their way through the Champions League.
That was a big question mark that I wanted to finalize with Bayern Munich. Is like, when you look at, they lost two like crucial members of their team out of retirement. That even if they weren't performing to the best of their ability, they represented, I think, a glorious last 4 or 5 years for Bayern Munich, Xabi Alonso and Philip Lahm. It's a lot of experience, and I just wanted to see them.
As we get younger, though.
I think that the youth coming in is definitely a huge part of that team, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like, they even let Douglas Costa go, who I thought was a good asset for them, and he let him go to Juventus because they have an overwhelming amount of talent. But are they going to stick with the go-to Ribéry and Robin?
Such a good Juventus signing.
I know, it's a typical Juventus signing. Matuidi, Douglas Costa.
They find pieces so well, and that's if Juventus still exists, by the way, too, because at some point we have to figure out really what happened with Bonucci.
Yeah, with Bonucci.
We still don't know.
It's a problem.
Very, very.
And don't rule. And the final point, to give Bayern Munich some credit, yeah, you got Carlo Ancelotti. The guy knows how to win a Champions League. He's won several, player and coach.
They go down in the semifinals to Real Madrid. It's fine. Comment below. Favorite, subscribe, all the good stuff. Who do you think is going to win the Champions League? And do you think there will be an English Premier League, English Champions League? Whatever. Just I don't care anymore.